Hello everyone! Lately in the Rec Room community, players have been echoing the same sentiment about the game going downhill, myself included. I've had countless rants with my friends and even shed a few tears. It might sound dramatic, but it's my job, and I care about this game, so to see this happening is a little depressing. Also, crying is fun. So today I've compiled a list of the 21 most annoying things that everyone, myself included, hates about Rec Room these days. Settle in for the first point. Number 1. Load screens of death. Since I started playing in 2020, Rec Room has had an issue with their servers and the game crashing. On the Quest 2 back in the day, I used to just time out loading certain rooms. I'd have to text my friend on Discord to let them know that I was rebooting the game. We've all experienced this despite having decent internet. It's one of those big mysteries in life. Other games don't seem to have this problem. However, in the last 8 months or so, the load screen of death issue seems specifically targeted to Steam players worse than usual. I put in a support ticket, but to no avail. Basically, when Rec Room Studio first came out, I could load any map. Even if the creators put like 8,000 assets in there, it would almost lag me out just looking in the general direction of the chaos. I could still load the map. My Quest 2 friends were barely able to, and it would usually crash. Makes sense though, I should be able to handle it with a good PC. Then something changed, probably some random update that broke something, which is another point I'll get to. But now, about 30 to 40% of the time I try to load into a Rec Room Studio map from Make It to Midnight to anything community made, I will get a load screen of death. My computer hasn't changed, I feel like it's Rec Room. And to see my Quest friends loading in without an issue as I have to reboot my game for the 3rd time that day makes me want to rip my hair out. I can't even live stream map exploration anymore because all the fun maps I want to see are Rec Room Studio, so it's a real shame. I hope that one gets fixed soon. Even with My Little Monsters, the newest Rec Room original, players are whining about the amount of subroom you have to do. It's all Rec Room Studio, and it takes a while or freezes at 81%. I feel like it wouldn't take much to just send players back to their dorm within a minute if it's not loading. I have to literally restart my whole game, which is ridiculous. I think the actual timeout is something insane like 8 minutes. So you could just sit there for 8 minutes trying to load a room before it sends you back to your dorm. So silly. Number 2. Prices are extremely arbitrary in the store. I can browse the store and see Donatello turtle armor for 26,000 tokens, which is around $40 US, or I see a spy watch for 2,000 tokens and some random S techwear for 13,500 tokens. Back in my day, the most expensive items were only a handful and they were no more than 10,000 tokens. I wouldn't be so upset about the price increase over time if it actually made sense. But when I scroll through the store, it looks like someone just got drunk and started typing random numbers to price things, and there's literally no consistency with anything. The best looking bejeweled beetle armor is 5,400 tokens, and it looks more beautiful than the shredder armor, which is 26,000. They don't even look that different. This would be like going to a real store and seeing 2 hoodies that are similar in material, same brand, yet one is $19.99 and one is $250. It just doesn't make sense from a consumer point of view. I'm sorry. And I know people gripe about how expensive everything is, so I will say, you don't go to a store in the mall and expect to afford everything you like. You just pick 1 or 2 things that fit your budget. But Rec Room isn't making this easier on us because our heads are spinning from the inconsistent prices. One thing that is free to do though is use code TARA in the game. You know I had to work that shameless self-promo in there somewhere. But seriously, using my code helps me keep making videos for you guys, so if you do support me in the game, I would appreciate it. Alright, next point. Number 3. The lore is painful. Rec Room lore. It takes place in a college campus, of which there's a map in every dorm. Coach is a big mystery, the 87 references are everywhere, and that used to be the extent of it until finally in 2021, the Forbidden One dropped, and he was a villain so powerful he started taking Rec Room staff as hostages in videos, and I think we were all a little delighted and somewhat giddy for some long overdue lore. And then it got tremendously murky from there on out. But since we were starved for lore, we settled in for a long and confusing ride that included mostly expensive and arbitrary storefronts with some signage that even the most diehard Rec Room fans failed to follow along with. Seriously, the last Elsewhere shop had me scratching my head. Shadow discovers another portal which leads to the Teller's secret hideout and something about a robotic body when I don't even know or remember who Shadow is. Was the Teller a person or just a cool outfit in the shop I bought once upon a time? My eyes glazed over as I struggled to remember, then some level 6 junior bumped into me and we all fell out of the map and I closed the game and moved on. This is the state of Rec Room lore. It's sad. I say we bring back the Forbidden One, give the people what they want, which is clearly more information on Coach, and stop with these overpriced storefronts that only deliver shiny clothing items without anything fun for us to do or talk about. Number 4. They don't listen to the community. I'm gonna break this point down into 2. The first is that people have been noticing that Rec Room is moving away from the community vibe they used to pride themselves on. This might be the most depressing point on my entire list, to be honest. OG players, you know what I'm talking about. If you started playing Rec Room in the last year or so, you might be wondering what I'm even prattling on about. That's fine. I put chapters in the video. Feel free to skip this if you're not interested. But Rec Room used to hold build contests and then feature the winners on RecNet for months. They used to update Invention Tower once a week with creators' inventions who then got a chance to earn more tokens from having them featured. They used to hold AMAs all the time, so we'd get a chance to hear what was going on in the game. They used to actually make quests. Back in 2018, they stopped, despite all the OG players wanting them and despite us playing the same 5 over and over and over and over, and you get it. They won't do it. So naturally, the community feels less and less supported over time, as things feel more conglomerate. The final nail in the coffin is probably them murdering the weekly challenges. After promising to revamp them, and that's why they went from once a week to once a month, the person who was going to work on that left the company, or so the rumors say. And after a year of the weeklies being monthlies, and after a year of me refusing to call something the monthly, they just come out and say they're scrapping it all together, but not before some more empty vague promises of a new system coming out eventually. Probably a paid system, because that's how it seems to be going for the game. Weeklies were like the last good thing. It was a way to get a free item skin just by grinding, and all of my friends would get get together and help whoever didn't have their weekly yet. It was bonding time, an excuse to play Rec Room. Rightfully so, the community is shocked. It feels like an extra slap in the face to be told that one of the main reasons is that 0.2% of the players actually do the weekly challenges. I can assure you, it's a very dedicated 0.2%, and to have all OG players be reduced to a percentage as though we don't matter because we're not playing on mobile phones in grade school is insulting. Quality of player matters. I'm very certain that the core community that built this game and made it what it is today is tiny, but that shouldn't mean that our voices don't matter. The second part of them not listening to the community point is this. Number 5, lack of support for VR players. Rec Room used to be a VR-only game. It wasn't until the Quest 2 became mainstream that I even heard about it. Now it's on almost every platform, but it didn't always used to be this way. So why VR support is lacking so much really baffles me. Much like neglecting the community, Rec Room seems to have forgotten its roots. This is almost like when someone grows up super poor, but then they get rich and famous and totally forget where they come from, and now everything that comes out of their mouth just seems out of touch. You know, kind of like when we found out Jenny from the block actually went to a private school. No bueno. The biggest group impacted by these changes is the creator community. I feel so bad for the creators. I made a whole video before titled Why Rec Room Creators Are Quitting, and Rec Room staff met with me and promised changes to help the despair, and then now a year later, crickets. I had hope, I really did. But issues specific to the VR players sometimes seem to go unnoticed as they focus on the greater slice of the pie, which is all those screen and console players. You guys matter too, it's fine, but we in VR, the original platform the game was made for, should not be left consistently at the bottom of the priority list. Number 6, quality assurance seems to be a joke, which is something that doesn't seem to be getting better with time. Recently, an update broke player tags, and that literally means nothing to me since I'm not a builder, but it broke some major rooms and impacted income for top creators and sent them panicking and running to staff to fix it urgently. How does stuff like this slip through the cracks? I myself have to find workarounds for issues that have existed for ages, and new ones always appear, like being able to see my hand in the streamer cam footage when I'm running with it. That one's annoying. But also, if you open the streamer cam when you have 2 computer monitors, good luck putting that thing away because now you have a frozen monitor. Creators complain to me about glitches and bugs constantly. The animation chip can't be edited more than once. Oh, your maker pen is frozen on edit mode? Just drop it and pick it up again. Well, why should I have to? It should just function properly. As we know, since it's a running joke, they fix one thing and break 5 more, which is cute the first year you play, but as a serious creator or someone who relies on features like the streamer cam, it stops being cute real fast, let me tell you. Number 7, they don't ask video partners for feedback first. This is a weird one, but hear me out. All the creators in the video partner program, that is people like me who have the verified checkmark in Rec Room and who have a code you can enter, all have thousands of people following them on social media. We see comments constantly from our audience who love to play Rec Room, and we have a very good idea of what the community is feeling as a whole. Any YouTuber or TikToker, sorry, saying TikToker will always just remind me of a nickname for a clock because I'm not of this generation, but anyone who makes content about Rec Room and pays attention has a really strong opinion about what people are loving or hating about the game. So why are we not consulted before decisions are made? Or even just a heads up, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, so brace yourself, weekly's gonna go rip. Would sometimes be nice. Anyone in the video partner program gets blindsided with bad news pretty much the same time as the general public. I do feel this is a bit unfair, especially given the name of the actual program has the word partner in it, and sometimes it feels like we're left out. I really enjoy this program, don't get me wrong. It helps me so much financially to be able to keep running this channel, but I would like to point out that Rec Room should aspire to get our feedback more often, specifically because we do know the community and we can give a consensus and insights that aren't always tangible for the higher ups in the game who just see numbers and charts. Number 8, RecNet is a mess. Recently, there was a very major makeover to the RecNet website, which is super cool. Awesome, but they removed a key feature, which was the ability to view all of the maps you had favorited. This is another one of those things I wish they did a poll for before just yanking it out from under us. I had to spend a solid 45 minutes in-game unfavoriting all of my maps while noting them in a Word document. The reason for this? You can only view 100 of your favorited maps in the game versus RecNet, which would let you see all of them. Well, I happen to favorite a lot of maps because there's literally thousands of quality ones worth checking out, and sometimes I like to go back and revisit them with friends. Good luck remembering maps offhand to film when all of the good art maps have pretentious names like Starborn or Calaria. Just no. For a game that prides itself on what the community can come up with, I'm shocked there isn't a better system in place for being able to save and revisit maps. In addition, it's no longer possible to accept your friend requests or answer DMs from their website. Not everyone wants to log into the game to quickly tend to these small tasks, so removing it seemed redundant. Sometimes it becomes obvious to me that the people who make the game are not the same as the ones who play the game, and I think that needs to change. I bet if the devs were forced to sit down and play 8 hours straight of Rec Room, they'd have a whole new perspective on how much is really broken or lacking function. I mean, in their defense, I'm sure tons of stuff is on fire behind the scenes that we don't even see or know about, and that's not possible, but I can still hope for a change. Or keep talking to myself. Either way. Number 9, creators fighting on RecNet. You know what else bothers me about Rec Room? The top creators on RecNet are always getting people to cheer their photos, and half the time it's just them fighting with each other or congratulating themselves on 500 subscribers from their successful Furry Park Ignited 123 map. What is up with that? I swear, back in the day before you could get people to upvote your photo if you had a ton of subscribers, it happened organically. And little Timmy and his friend playing Golden Trophy actually stood a chance of getting the top spot in RecNet if they took a cool pic. Nowadays, it's just self-promotion and fights. I don't even bother looking at it half the time. Sadly, this is what people see when they don't even have Rec Room and they're just checking out the website. So I do feel like showcasing all the silly, immature drama puts a negative light on people potentially wanting to explore the game for the first time. Number 10. Hackers are rampant. I think everyone has a story of encountering a hacker or a friend who has. I personally remember the times they took over Rec Royale and became invincible, flying all around the map despite having just been killed. It was jarring. I still have nightmares about that actually. But the Rec Royale one was fairly benign compared to more recent incidents like rec centers having strange objects spawned in, and even that pales in comparison to the plagued events. Yes, if you're an event host, you fear hackers above all else. They will show up, take your Maker Pen access, and start running rampant. Everything from causing you to fall through the floor to having loud music blasting and a message that says the obvious, you've been hacked. It's off-putting, especially if you're not expecting it. Now I know Rec Room can't just magically wave a wand and get rid of all of the hackers. It doesn't work like that. It's not like they're putting out the welcome mat for them either and letting them have a free-for-all, but security for a growing game is clearly an ongoing concern, and I feel like more needs to be done to protect regular players. You can buy circuits inventions that allegedly stop hackers from destroying events, but most people don't know about them and they aren't foolproof anyway. At the end of the day, this is something that Rec Room needs to focus thoroughly on, since it's a huge deterrent for that core group in the community. After all, that's who runs events most of the time. Number 11, they took away invasion events. Rec Room overdid it on the invasion events, I will admit. People complained that they were a little sick of them. I didn't so much mind, and the XP gains were great for those looking to reach level 50 a bit faster. Had they been more evenly spaced out over time, I think they would have been a fantastic recurring addition to the game. The problem is that each invasion event got harder and harder and a little more pay to win, and that left everyone feeling disgruntled. The positive was that once again, map creators who got chosen had orbs hidden in their map, so it was a chance to room explore with friends and discover new hangouts and games. Taking away events like these seems to only hurt creators' ability to get discovered. I think invasion events should make a comeback within reason. And anyway, without them, the whole lovely science department is just sitting empty, collecting cobwebs. Seems like a waste of all of the effort spent making such a cool place. Number 12, there is no filter in DMs. Alright, this is a moderation issue if nothing else, but it's super annoying to me that little Timmy can spam awful language in DMs. You can report a DM now, that didn't used to be the case, so I suppose progress in the right direction gets a little nod of acknowledgement from me. But if they can make it so that juniors can't speak, why can't they put banned words in DMs so you can't even type it? Doesn't Roblox have that feature? It seems so ridiculous that all these words I've seen, and I'm not going to repeat them, you can just use your imagination. Think of the worst words you've ever heard, and those have been DM'd to me in a sentence from someone who thinks they might elicit a response. Most people just send me kind messages or random photos of an emu they've drawn, but there are some strange people out there who feel the need to send messages of the extreme kind. And if this is happening to me, I figure it's happening to other people, and in a primarily kids game, I'm super confused why this is allowed to go on. Private DMs are a cesspool for hate and bullying, and I feel like censorship at that point is the lesser of two evils, so come on, Rec Room. Get it together. Number 13, featured creators don't have any notoriety anymore. So back in the day, featured creators had a little write-up on the featured board, which you could see in the dorm rooms and the rec center. They would have a quote from them, their photo, and a link to their maps. Instead of making moves to make this available to all players, they banished it to only being in the rec center, removing it from dorms altogether. And now, being featured feels more like being buried. I guess there's still the bragging rights, but I doubt it has nearly the same impact. This is a shame, because as most of us know, community map creators make up the majority of this game, and there's a lot of places they could advertise and feature these amazing people. Posters in the rec center, social media posts, even making videos about featured maps of the week. Oh wait, they did used to do that, but they killed that off too. Man, I'm salty. In my defense, I have a lot to be angry about. Number 14, no more contests. Build contests were an amazing way to get excited about touring a bunch of maps, whether it was Solstice, Folklore, or Stranded theme. I had hours of fun with my friends looking at all the themed community maps that sprouted up, speculating on who might win the millions of tokens. The last one was over a year ago and they used to run multiple times a year, as if room creators needed any less motivation to build. The next time you're in game and you see Prison Life, Spin the Bottle, and Ignited Freddy being recommended to you for the 500th time, remember me saying this. Builders are discouraged and the creativity is seeping out from the community. Then again, creative builders are probably 0.0001% of the Rec Room player base, so according to Rec Room that's a small number, and small numbers don't matter, I guess. Number 15, featured inventions never seem to change. This annoys me. I've been seeing the same inventions and dorm skins in the store for like what feels like years or maybe actually is years. I wonder if the person who made Living Pet Seal even plays Rec Room anymore. I bet they've made thousands and thousands of tokens from having their invention just sit there unchanged in the featured tab. In fact, Rec Room doesn't really feature these things anymore, which is precisely why they need to scrap that tab altogether. Some things just seem lazy to me, and this is one of them. It's hard enough to be discovered as a creator, so letting a few top inventions secure a spot for years, when it could be rotated often to allow a more even playing field, just seems ridiculous to me. This map is very laggy. Number 16, militaries are rampant. Look, I have nothing wrong with a good Rec Room military. I've even visited a couple for videos, and it's always downright entertaining. The people are helpful, if not a bit serious. Someone always accidentally gets shot, and climbing the ranks while guarding the base face is probably fun roleplay if that's your cup of tea. But the fact that one of the hashtags on the homepage is military seems a bit too far for me. Rec Room has always brushed these under the rug despite every event page being full of military recruitment events. I can think of several other hashtags though that would be more appropriate on the homepage. Hashtag Rec Room Studio, hashtag art, hashtag Rooms 2.0, but military? Really? I sound like a broken record at this point, but it's tough enough for creators to get good discoverability on their maps, so having anything lower quality being featured does grind my gears a little. At the very least, I've barely visited them in the past, whereas I visit a ton of art maps, so maybe the art or hangout hashtag should be recommended to me specifically. Custom map recommendations have emerged, and it's still a work in progress, but clearly, we have a long ways to go. Number 17, lack of moderation on custom shirts. When custom shirts first came out, I think in 2022, time flies, I worried about what this would mean from a moderation standpoint. Yes, you have to have Rec Room Plus to make them, so it does stop some people, because probably people who pay for Rec Room Plus are less likely to troll. But there's still been some highly sus shirts that walk a code of conduct line I'm not sure everyone is comfortable with. I remember when I played around on a junior account to see what juniors could and couldn't do, and I was able to purchase a questionable shirt and wear it. That seems like the oversight of the century to have that feature available for juniors, and in general, custom shirts are great, but I think more work needs to be done to ensure they're not causing a bunch of raised eyebrows. Number 18, people buying and selling rooms. Rec Room has an underground economy, and that probably shouldn't surprise anyone, but the buying and reselling of maps has gone a little bit out of control. Mass amounts of tokens are being exchanged from eager buyers wanting to get their hands on a room that has traction so that they can repurpose it into a monetized gold mine and then probably resell it to the next person. I know someone who has quite a few successful maps, and they have to constantly swat away emails left and right from people wanting to buy their map with the promise of keeping them on co-owner. What is Rec Room doing to combat all of this, or do they even care? Number 19, full body avatars still need a lot of work. I get that full body avatars are a new development, and as usual, Rec Room probably rushed to get them out before they were entirely finished. When full body first came out, arms were stretching all over the place, and half the outfits looked extremely janky. Now that it's out for everyone, I have to say, much improved. However, it's annoying to me how much still needs fine-tuning. Some pants really bend strange, and it's completely unflattering. Sleeves don't entirely match and cheapen the look of certain torso items. I've heard players complain that there aren't any low-priced full body avatar pieces. Everything that drops is usually an expensive 5-star. Don't even get me started on how our last weekly challenge ever was a pair of boots. Seems actually symbolic. It's Rec Room kicking us while we're already down. The worst experience I had with full body avatars so far was with earrings and pigtails. For one glorious moment in time, I could see my ears when wearing pigtails. I don't know why you normally can't. It shouldn't block them. And I put on some gold earrings and I was so happy. I even made social media posts about it, and then boom, I blinked and some update happened and now I can't have ears again. Also, you grab items weird with full body. I don't want to grab my donuts in the middle. The icing gets squished. Come on, Rec Room. Number 20. Rec Room has become a daycare. Something that's not talked about often enough is that some of the rooms on the hot tab are an absolute cesspool for kids that are in VR and not on a junior account, yet literally sound 5 years old. I remember going around to all the hot tab maps for a video, a lot of which didn't make sense to me because they had names like FNAF Earth Roleplay Stylized Daycare, and I couldn't believe my literal ears. It was like goo goo gaga as the 5-year-olds ran around in these furry costumes trying to friend each other but not knowing how VR worked, then finally just setting the headset down without exiting the game as their lifeless corpse prevailed. Serving a sad reminder to the rest of us what Rec Room has become. The daycare maps are taking over. Beware. I don't know who to be more afraid for. The future of humanity if parents are strapping a VR headset on a 5-year-old and walking away, or the future of Rec Room if they keep pushing this nonsense to the top of the play tab because toddlers are now dictating to the rest of us what's cool or not in the game. I shudder to think. Number 21. Not enough penalties for bad players. I suspect that the people who get banned are usually the same toxic people over and over again. Of course, if you ask them, it's always a false ban and they did nothing wrong, or Toxmod got it wrong, or misheard them and they really said mother trucker go fly in a tire, not something actually toxic. But I think these people should probably get like 3 strikes then be out. I feel like they get a slap on the wrist, an hour or day-long ban, and then they're right back at it. Maybe they should have like toxic players matchmaking so all these rude people are stuck with each other so the rest of us can play dodgeball in peace. Either way, it's annoying that Rec Room moderation still has a long way to go, and I'm sure you agree. Toxic people are one of the worst parts of the game, that and the toddler daycares. Okay, look, I know there's a lot of negativity here, and I've made videos before on things Rec Room should fix. It's a never-ending list because the game is ever evolving, and I understand that. However, they should take more notes on why they're scaring quality players and creators away and start prioritizing the community more instead of just focusing on numbers. All of the links to the maps I visited for this video are in the description below, so go visit them and show some love to these poor neglected creators. I put a video on screen here that talks about more of the same issues if you're interested. So use code TARA in Rec Room and I will see you guys next time. Tarapeutic out.